Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think towards the end of development, I was on a GTX 980.
Hello and welcome back to SGDA. With the Student Game Showcase, we're with Necroncide Arena from UCI. This is Jason again, the SGDA president.
My name is Amir. I'm the SGDA's webmaster.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm Alex. I'm the lead on Necroncide Arena.
All right, so let's get started. So, tell us a little about the game. Kind of where you call it, or tell us a little about yourself. Where are you calling in from? Is there where are you calling in from? Where did you meet your team? Stuff like that.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm a long-time attendee, first-time presenter, so it's really cool to kind of be up in the spotlights with you guys and all the other legends that make this happen every single year. So, thank you.
We're glad to have you here.
Okay, so yeah, I'm coming in from Southern California, as is pretty much all the rest of the team members. So I began at IBC, and then later I've been to UCI, and I'm part of the VGDC club, where essentially we began sort of recruitment for the game. And our team members hail from UCI, LCAD, and UCR.
Awesome, cool. LCAD. I think that I know a few folks from LCAD, so I'm sure they'll be happy to see this.
Sure.
What was your role? So you mentioned that you were team lead. Was there anything else that you kind of took on, or was it mainly leadership?
Yeah, so I actually developed the original prototype for this game the quarter before I pitched it at VGDC.
Oh, wow.
And during the actual development itself, I primarily oversaw the art, with primarily the 3D environment, the props, the models, characters, and I also dipped my toes into the programming as well. As for the rest of the team members, we had Tyler, we had Grant, and Duncan as programmers. They're all UCI students. They're excellent programmers. We had Celine, who joined us from LCAD, who pitched the game to LCAD, to their video game development club, and she signed on as an environment artist as well. So she did the one of the weapons for the characters, and she did those lovely cactuses that you see around the map. And let's see, we also had Nat come in as a graduate, worked on the audio engineering, sound effects, and then we had SD and John Paulo from VGDC as well, who helped with UI and music.
I think the environments, like we were talking about it in Twitch chat, but like the general environments, just the look of everything is really good. Like it's kind of like it was like, oh my god, is this? So it looks really nice. Sorry, Jake. Never mind.
Definitely, I think art was one of the core backbones we really wanted to nail in this game. Myself coming from an art background, and we of course developed this in Unity, but we used URP, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
The Universal Render Pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and you can achieve quite a lot with it, even though it's relatively lightweight. The materials are easy to set up.
Right, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And it's free to use, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to make sure, because I actually had to use URP for a more professional project recently, so I have some experience with it. And that's really cool that you're able to like build all this, like with the lighting and everything, in like I'm out of movement. With what is essentially a free part of Unity.
I guess with lighting, like no one became specifically like specialized in lighting, but instead of kind of doing the whole baked approach to things, because it would generate a lot of baked lightmap files, we just stuck with essentially real-time global illumination, and we had some actually strange shadow issues going on, which we spent weeks on trying to solve. It was like raw distance, calling distance, all that, but it turns out you actually have to tick like a little checkbox in every mesh instance that you have on the map
Oh
in order
my
for it to
god.
not do weird stuff. And it's not really, it's kind of an unwritten rule, you know, like you have to like know to ask the right question to get the right answer.
Yeah,
So
that actually brings us pretty nicely into our next question of what was the most difficult part of development?
sure. I guess you could say because we started the project, so we started this in the spring of last year. It was kind of midway through the pandemic. Um, Not being able to meet face to face initially made things definitely that much more difficult because there was no guarantee of like that we'd even be able to like actually sort of keep up with each other's work.
Mhm.
But you know, like I kind of set my expectations low. I was like, okay, everyone, let's just work an hour minimum per week, and if you want to volunteer more time, uh, go at it. Me personally, I will make sure like if we have to address everyone's needs on like a single person basis, I would make sure that it would happen. Um, so beyond that, beyond sort of the initial setup, I guess it was kind of working on a large scale sort of coding project in general.
Mhm.
I can say for myself and most of the team members, we've only ever worked on solo development projects in the past, and just having to share like responsibilities and having to even get the repository set up in the first place caused a lot of issues because, for example, we didn't set the git ignore correctly, and
Oh right, yeah, and like
yeah.
there's a Unity lock file that's like that makes it
Mhm.
really. I remember getting into that one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You end up like pushing like a bunch of weird local files that get generated, and then you end
Right.
up, you know, overwriting stuff on your system. And now the project gets corrupted, and it was a whole ordeal. But at first it was just TK and I, and we were just working on the front and
Sorry, Jason.
being able to push this thing the first like 4 or 5 weeks, and we finally managed to get it down. So I think just learning the responsibility of handing off and checking out code um, was truly eye-opening, but at the same time, it was there were plenty of challenges in regards to
That yeah, that make like with projects like this where there's a lot of different like moving parts. It is crucial, but also difficult to just get everything working together.
that. Sure.
Jason, I am so sorry. Uh, for the next question, I'd like to ask, what has the project been generally the same throughout development, or were there any big changes that you had to make?
Oh man, that's a great question. You know, like all I can say is saying that the project changed dramatically would be a complete understatement. Because believe it or not, it used to have like you know how like you're kind of getting into the fever of like, oh, we're going to create a game, and you have all these feature sets you want to implement.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, scope creep.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And we used to have like deck building in this game to sort
Oh
of
my
build your
god.
character as the game progresses. But obviously, we had to tighten up our scope, uh, and so we pretty much just focused on like the shooting, the strategy, and sort of the retreat mechanics. Here, like it used to even be a grid-based cover shooter, sort of like XCOM 2.
I did
Um,
see that in your inspirations you didn't mention XCOM, so that does sound very much similar. But at the same time, I imagine that would have been like really different than what we're playing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too because it's like we just figured like okay, well, there's another game we were looking at, Valkyria Chronicle, great game, um, and we figured you know just having the game play from a third person perspective was actually not only easier to implement, but it's also something that you don't see very often. Um,
Right.
so we definitely had to sort of figure out from there on, like, okay, so we have things set from third person perspective. Do we want to stick with like kind of a target lock, target toggling system, or do we want to do kind of like a system like third person shooters tend to do? And so we
Right.
kind of have this, yeah, we sort of chose like the best of both worlds, I guess.
Because with this, it's kind of like not necessarily like the aim isn't super important, but it's this like strategy that ends up. And I think that like I've played a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles, and that shines through with that game.
Oh yeah. In Valkyria Chronicles, I think you have damage multipliers depending on which part of the body you aim at.
Right.
So I think that game is much more complex, and it'd be awesome to be able to do something like that. But again, it adds another level of complexity.
I think that would be like a good like future implementation of the game.
That could be fun.
That could be interesting. But I guess that would kind of necessitate an overhaul of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask, what would you recommend students and hobbyists do to get their game like off the ground? Because this looks like it could have been really intimidating at some point to just like get started with.
Oh yeah, for sure, and I'll definitely touch a little more on sort of the origins of this project specifically. But I think one piece of advice I give is an overarching sort of piece of advice would be stop being an ideas person and start like either putting your ideas down on paper and like start little coding projects or little tech demos. Like if you want to create a big open world next big thing, start by just like maybe learning how to do a good character controller,
Right.
or do like a level up system. See how far you get with that, and eventually, I think when you grow like this sort of small code base large enough, you'll eventually feel more invigorated to sort of piece them together to something much bigger. And of course, stay organized in all of this. Make sure you generate a lot of documents and concepts for it before you just dive right into the code. And of course, I think one really important thing is like, while I don't recommend collaborating with others at an early stage because it's kind of a weird sort of free for all, or like you're trying to figure out what role to fill. I would definitely say work with people who are like, whose strengths are that way. You can work in tandem with like an art person while you're the programmer, or vice versa.
Right.
To sort of be able to cover more ground.
I don't know if you're seeing the game right now, but I thought I was in a really bad spot, and then I am in a really bad spot.
I think that HP bar can be a little deceiving. We'll see how this plays out.
It can be. Unfortunately, it's not anymore.
Okay.
Well, the risk I took was calculated, but man, am I bad at math. I think you can control the monster too right now.
That's right.
If you hit 4.
If you hit 4 on the keyboard, you can, but he's going to be at
sorry.
0 stamina at this point in time, so it's going to be until the next turn. Now you have all your stamina. And you should try his jump too. Try doing like a run and jump. That's really wild.
I think I saw that one in the trailer. Oh my god. Oh, that is a repositioning. Uh-oh. That's not good.
The thing is, balancing is one of the greatest challenges for sure throughout the project, and you'll see that while the Necron isn't like super overpowered, he definitely poses weight.
Yeah, like the Necron actually hasn't really been the one that just took down 2 of my units. It was just the crossbow wielder.
Right.
And on that note, I'm perhaps in a bad situation right now.
Let me see.
You unfortunately did most of the work, and then I just came up and cleaned it up.
Yep.
I could teach you how to cheese this. If you want to go ahead and cast this Q tactical abilities.
It is too late. I have made my decision. I will do my best and hope for the rest. Yeah, I was. That's really interesting because like that's a really cool way to do it, because I did notice that like earlier on I had taken out one of Jason's units, but then I'm not the one who was victory screen this year. That's That's really interesting. Did you happen to get to why did you create the game? I think you mentioned that you were going to talk about it for a bit, but
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of odd, right? It's like this wasn't really a game I had really planned on dedicating a year of my life to. But let's just say the pieces kind of fell together, and I had to strike while the iron was hot. One of that being that I had this prototype pretty much fleshed out, and two, I just thought, like, for example, while I was working on it, I was like, these back end tools for creating the prototype kind of suck. Like, maybe I should just move it to the game engine and just start developing the game. Um, and then, of course, to get more people on board with it, I had to go through recruitment at VGDC. And in order to do that, you had to have worked on another game in the past, which I had at that point. So I just think all the chips just came together, and I said, let's roll with it. And I think for people out there who are finding themselves in sort of situation, it's kind of like a do or die situation with whether you want to go forward with the game. Just do it. Just the same old Nike quote. Just do it. Like,
yeah, just do it. Like, get started, and then you can make games like this one, which was super. Like, we had a good time. We had a good time playing it. I was like we had a lot of fun with it. With that, I think that we are coming up on time. So I think that I'd like to ask: is there anybody that you would like to shout out? Anybody would like to kind of speak, like, shout out, say anything about? Feel free to.
oh man, let's see. I think I'd like to shout out some of my instructors. So Pat Beckman, Feng Li, and Colin McCall. They all kind of shaped my growth as an artist and game developer. So I can't thank them enough. And of course, I want to shout out VGDC officers Victoria, Amy, and the many others who helped get this project together to make it possible.
Awesome, cool. With that, thank you for finishing up the student showcase today. Now, next up is our next community organization spotlight with Latinx and Gaming. We'll see you there. Thank you, Alex, for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.